Enfin, nous terminerons par une session de questions-réponses. Avant de finir, nous allons animer une courte pause pour développer un sondage avec le Mentimenteur. Aujourd'hui, nous avons l'honneur d'accueillir 4 experts qui vont nous entretenir. En premier, il y a Cedrick Fogwan. Il est le coordonnateur de l'application SIREN Reporting Apps qui travaille avec African Marine Conservation Organization au Cameroun. Nous avons en deuxième position Dr. Sarah Dolman, présidente du Bycatch Working Group du CCAHD et membre du groupe d'experts sur les captures accessoires de la Commission baleinière internationale, CBI. Nous avons ensuite Dr. Hélène Hines, professeure à l'Université d'État de San Francisco, principal développeur d'ailleurs de l'outil d'évaluation du risque de capture accessoire ByRA Toolbox et également membre du panel d'experts sur les captures accidentelles de la CBI. Et puis enfin, nous avons le docteur Federico Sucunza, coordonnateur du projet Pesca au sein de l'organisation GEMARS, également membre du panel d'experts sur les captures accessoires de la CBI. Alors, merci à chacun d'être avec nous aujourd'hui. Je vais donc laisser la parole à Cedrick pour démarrer la séquence des présentations. À tout à l'heure.
Thank you very much, Joa Didier. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm very happy to be here with you. I hope you can hear me through the online translation. Otherwise, we can fix that. Okay, so talking about the bycatch or accidental capture, known as the greater threat on the Atlantic Humpback Dolphin, many studies have been carried out to assess the threat that the species is facing. And we came out with the fact that accidental capture is the highest one for many reasons, and the one of the reasons, if you can go to the next slide, yeah. So one of the reasons why accidental capture is the main threat is the fact that the Atlantic Humpback Dolphin, through his behavior, he inhabits the shallow water near shore, and usually it's the same area where artisanal fishers will go for fishing. And in the west coast of Africa, in West and Central Africa, small-scale fishing is very intense in the area, in the habitat of the Atlantic Humpback Dolphin. And in the same area is where the species will follow fish and sometimes into the net without noticing that it is the fishing net where they will get trapped. And in most of the cases, the fishers will leave the net unattended for a long period, while the individual that were captured will spend a lot of time without breathing, because Atlantic Humpback dolphins are mammal and they need to come out to breathe. So if they can't breathe, they can survive to bycatch. And in most of the cases as well, the fishers in this area use monofilament nets, which are somehow less expensive than the selective nets. And with all this, there is an overlap between the fishing area, the fishing time, and the feeding behavior of the species. And very few people are aware that the fact that they are leaving their net for a long period unattended, and that they are fishing in the area where the Atlantic Humpback Dolphin can be found, or even if they are aware, they don't know about the importance of the species, and that poor awareness increase the risk of bycatch on the species. And even if there are cases of awareness, the fact that the small scale fisher use engine, it creates some noise that will disorient the animal, and they will miss the track of the species. I mean, they'll miss the track and get trapped in the fishing net. So there is also the case of the fact that the habitat is increasingly degraded, and combined to the pollution, the fact that people are building, they are all companies that are being installed in the area. The habitat of the species, it becomes very, very limited, and they find themselves in the same area where fishing can happen. As you can see on the picture, the fishes are just passing by, and the dolphin is also in the same area. And this is the situation on the field. And you in many countries, we realize that not only the fishing is the fishes are there, but also the amount of fishes, like in Ghana, the poor livelihood makes the fishing to become more intense than in the past years. And the number of fishes as is increasing, the number of outing also per fishes is also increasing. That means there is more likely possibility for the fishes to get in contact with the Atlantic Humpback Dolphin. And you can go to the next slide. Didier, please, next slide. Yes, and in most of the cases, when they capture the animal, it can happen that the animal is found still alive, but because of the poor awareness that we mentioned earlier, they'll kill it for food, and in some cases to sell in the local market or to use as bait. In Cameroon specifically, we have developed a citizen science program based on an application which is called SIREN, and we give that to fishers for them to report any case of 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 sightings, even accidental capture. And with this application, we have been able to report in 2 years in the same area 2 cases of accident of bycatch on the Atlantic Humpback Dolphin, and we were even able to collect sample. And the engagement of the fishers also provided us the opportunity to sensitize them, and to even have some fishers that are more informed about the threat that the species is facing, and to take the initiative to share the message with the other fishers. And we have combined that with the interview surveys carried out in each countries of the species range. And the interview was supported by the Society for Marine Mammalogy. Thanks to them for that support, to collect local ecological knowledge on where the species is found and the threat that they are facing. And in all these countries, we realize that the bycatch remain the highest threat, the greatest threat on the Atlantic Humpback Dolphin. And in Congo, for instance, as you can see on the map, the location where the fishers reported that they go for fishing, in the spot that are very near to the coast, are also where all the reported cases of bycatch have happened in the past years. In Gabon and in Senegal, for instance, the fishers reported that the gear that almost all of the fishers are using is the gill net that you saw earlier, which is the one involved in bycatch. That means there should be an attention on the gill net, as we are also paying attention on the area where the interaction are happening. And there is a solution ahead. We have talked a lot about the threat, but there is a hope, and that hope is the fact that at this point there are also there are already some fishermen who are taking who are informed about the fact that the Atlantic humpback dolphin are important, and that they are more benefit alive than dead. And for that reason, this picture is showing how the fisherman Abraham, who is behind holding the tail, has accidentally captured an Atlantic humpback dolphin. This was in December in Cameroon. And he brought it to the land to show to the government officers what happened. And the government officers were encouraging him to kill that for food. But he took to him to advocate for the conservation, and he went back to the sea to free the species. This same situation has happened in Gabon, where an Atlantic humpback dolphin was also captured in the beach scene and was also rescued by the fishers. This is showing that the fishers are not only the problem, but they can also be part of the solution. I will hang it back to you, Joa Didier, and thank you for your attention.
Merci. Nous invitons Madame Sarah à poursuivre.
Thank you, Joa Didier. Hello, everyone. It's great to be part of the webinar today. I'm going to take a few minutes to mention some of CCAHD's strategies to address Atlantic humpback dolphin bycatch. Next slide, please. Thank you. The bycatch working group put together a questionnaire and undertook an assessment of bycatch data collection needs in the range of the Atlantic humpback dolphin in 2023. And the questionnaire received 28 responses from 13 of the CCAHD range countries in West and Central Africa, as well as from 4 international scientists. And the respondents reported what they perceived as the most urgent needs in terms of resources and support or capacity building to accurately assess, monitor, and mitigate bycatch in their area. And you can see from the graph that funding and human resources were both identified as a key priority, followed closely by field monitoring and training opportunities. This work was presented to the International Whaling Commission Scientific Committee meeting in 2024, and the committee agreed that a more detailed and systematic review of fisheries and bycatch risk across the species range is needed, and recommended that the International Whaling Commission Secretariat and the Bycatch Mitigation Initiative continue to support CCAHD in its bycatch efforts. So CCAHD collaborates closely with the International Whaling Commission, and we would like to warmly welcome Elizabeth Campbell as the new IWC Bycatch Coordinator. The IWC Scientific Committee has been very supportive of CCAHD's work, and the Bycatch Coordinator has actively participated in CCAHD business. The International Whaling Commission Bycatch Mitigation Initiative has a focus on preventing bycatch in small-scale gillnet fisheries, with Congo being identified as one of a number of countries globally to be suitable to set up as a pilot project. So CCAHD has been working with Renatura and NOE, who are Congolese NGOs, to set up a bycatch project there, with support from the IWC bycatch expert panel members with relevant regional and technical expertise, and particularly Dr. Ellen Hines and Dr. Federico Sucunza, both of whom you'll hear from shortly. So the project scope has been identified, and the first funding application has now been submitted. So we're very excited about this project, and we look forward to getting started. And finally, from me on capacity building, In December 2024, funding from Dolphin Quest and the International Whaling Commission made it possible to bring together 25 participants from 13 Atlantic Humpback Dolphin range countries for training in how to use the Bycatch Risk Toolbox. Training was provided by Dr. Ellen Hines and her colleague Dr. Sarah Farinelli, and you'll hear more about the ByRA Toolbox in a moment. Some participants used their own data to generate preliminary analysis, showing which gears were most likely to be problematic and where dolphins were at the greatest risk of bycatch. Thank you, Joao Didier.
Nous allons inviter Hélène à poursuivre, s'il vous plaît.
Greetings, everybody, and thank you so much for inviting me to this webinar. I'm very happy to see so many of the friends I met in Cameroon and other places here today. I'd like to give the example of how the bycatch risk assessment works very quickly, and the example of how it worked in several sites in our project in Chile in South America, with varying amounts of data. Next slide, please. So, as you know, bycatch is a threat that is considered wicked. It just isn't going away. It's very stubborn. And there is a shortage of a lot of the data and the accounting that people need to be able to address it. Next slide, please. What we say for ByRA is that many times, and if you can click one more time, is that this is not an excuse for not having progress. So what we've come up with is a risk assessment, which identifies, analyzes, and evaluates the likelihood or probability of an event happening and the consequences of that event. And this is important because there are so many limited resources for scientists in countries that where fisheries are so fundamental. Next slide, please. So this example that I'll give you is in Chile, and it's a result of a 5-year project that we are completing right now. As you can see, Chile, go back one second, Gianna. Chile is a very long country with a very long coast. Next slide. And so what we've done is we've created a workflow that consists of needing sightings of animals, any information about sightings, any information about fishing and gear, and if there's any information on bycatch, go ahead and click again, and then keep clicking one more time, and then, oh, go back now. Sorry about that. It'll be less complicated as we move ahead. And then what we do is we get together and overlay these maps in a specific way, including expert knowledge on the exposure of the animal to the gear and the consequence to the population of the animal getting caught in the gear. And then our stakeholders, whoever they are, will review those resulting maps and come up with final synthesis maps that are management recommendations. Next slide, please. So I'll give you some examples. The Eastern South Pacific southern right whale is an animal caught in crab traps. Very little data about the fishery or the animal. Next. And then the next is the Chilean dusky dolphin, where we do have some data about the animal, relatively complete data. And this is in a small scale anchovy fishery. And then the South American sea lion is caught in industrial trawlers. Next slide. We've come up with a matrix, and I don't have time to go through with this, but please let me know if any questions, where we have come up with criteria for saying that sightings or distribution or fishing gear distribution have certain classifications of data certainty or uncertainty. And next slide. And we characterized the 3 fisheries with what we call a stoplight of red, little data, high uncertainty, yellow, medium uncertainty, and green, low uncertainty, pretty good data. And we classified this. So let's quickly go through some of these. For the right whale, next slide, in way southern Chile, we've come up with an area of interest around the fisheries, maps of species distribution. Again, very little data. We had to look at the research papers. We had to consult local experts, and we came up with low, medium, high species distribution, fishing density we got from the Chilean fishing agencies. Next slide. And our resulting map shows that there's pretty high possibility of these endangered right whales being caught in these crab traps. But you can see the stoplight shows high uncertainty. Quickly to the next slide. In the anchovy fishery, we have pretty good data about and a sophisticated species distribution model on dusky dolphins. And then we have density mostly in the northern part of our research area. And our final map shows, again, that's based on where the animals are and where the fisheries are, high risk of bycatch for these dolphins in this artisanal fishery in the northern part of our area. Just for the last few seconds, I want to look at sea lions, and you can see that we have areas of reproductive and non-reproductive seasons. So we have very different distribution by season. That is also very important in some of our ByRAs. And you can see, if you click one more time, Gianna, that holds true for seasonal fisheries. And our last slide, please, here. Next slide, please. You can see that while there isn't very much high risk of these animals getting caught in the net, there is consistent medium risk that we believe needs to be addressed. And you can see that here, showing that we do have pretty good data, we've got a stoplight with green in it. So next slide. So if you can click as I talk, Gianna, the Bycatch tool identifies areas of high bycatch risk, provides seasonal risk maps, initiates an organized and inclusive organization on bycatch, supports development of management strategies in marine protected areas, is very low cost, provides free software and local training, and values fishermen's input and knowledge. So we put our data into a cohesive risk assessment and framework that can support endangered species conservation and sustainable fisheries. Next slide. And we'd like to thank everybody, next slide, please, who has helped us and funded us and worked with us on this. So far, we've done over 35 countries, and we're about to do trainings in the EU towards the end of the month, and hopefully in the Caribbean very soon. Thank you very much.
Merci, Hélène. Federico, please.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So, hello everyone, and thank you for being here. My name is Federico Sucunza. I'm a researcher from Brazil working with GEMARS and AMCO. Today I will talk about the process of choosing mitigation methods, and I will present results from an experiment we are conducting in southern Brazil. Next, please. So it's easy to think that the most effective way to mitigate bycatch is to remove fishing effort from areas where cetaceans occur. However, this can impact fishing activities, especially small-scale fishers, which have limited mobility. Next, please. So many methods have been developed to mitigate bycatch in areas where fishing and cetaceans overlap. Here are some examples of methods proposed to mitigate bycatch in gill nets by increasing the net's acoustic reflectivity, attaching acoustic or visual alarms, and increasing net stiffness. Next, please. And although many methods have been tested, a huge effort is still needed to overcome the pressure of bycatch on cetacean species. This is especially true for small-scale fisheries, where it's crucial to evaluate the effectiveness of bycatch mitigation methods at a local scale. If we consider the widespread use of these methods, it's fundamental that they reflect the reality of fishing communities and are practical during fishing activities. From my point of view, the first step is to discuss the use of particular strategy with the fishers, presenting the idea and examples of the method, and asking for the opinions on its effectiveness, practical use, impact on target species, and, if necessary, how to adapt it to the fisher's reality. That was what we did here in Brazil when we started trialing plastic bottles to mitigate Franciscana bycatch. We explained the idea of the method that we are using, that is the air inside the bottle would reflect the sound emitted by the dolphins. As well, we discuss the need to develop scientific research to understand the effectiveness, so the use of treatment nets, that are nets with bottles attached to the nets, and control, that is the nets without the bottle, so they need to change time to time. And the fishers then proposed how we should attach the bottles and the size of the bottles to start our trials. This is because the initial idea proposed by the Professor Per Berggren was to use 500 milliliter plastic bottles. But when we present the idea, the fishers saw that this could impact their work, so we adapt to the fisher reality. Next, please. So in this process, in this collaborative process, these are two methods for attaching the bottles to the gill nets that we have been developed by our collaborators, and we are testing here. We can discuss more about each method after. Next, please. Here are general results on fishing effort using control and treatment nets. You can see, so the total number of sets, the net length, the average net length by set, so time fish catch, and we recorded a total of 10 dolphins bycatch in control nets and only one in treatment nets. Control nets, nets without bottles, and treatment nets, the nets with the bottles attached. And this represents an 80% reduction in catch per unit of effort from control to treatment nets. Next, please. So based on the results recorded so far, an effective reduction in bycatch has been observed when using air-filled plastic bottles attached to bottom set gill nets with no impact on the catch of target species. Additionally, results from the F-pod acoustic recorders show a similar prevalence of Franciscana dolphins near both treatment and control nets, suggesting that the dolphins may be detecting and avoiding the nets with bottles. Next, please. This study was recommended for expansion to other areas of Brazil and the world by the Scientific Committee of the International Whaling Commission. And in this way, the last year, Valtamir, the fishers who started this study with me, and I participated in an event in Cameroon to share our experience with this bycatch mitigation method. It was an incredible experience, and I could talk about it for hours with you, but it's not the point now. But I strongly recommend promoting exchange between fishers as a way to encourage the adoption of bycatch mitigation method. Next, please. This study is the result of the effort of many collaborators, and I sincerely acknowledge and thank them for their contributions. Next. And thank you all for your attention. Thank you, Joy Didier.
Merci Federico et merci à tous ceux qui ont présenté pour cette session dédiée d'ailleurs aux présentations. Nous amorçons déjà la phase de la pause courte où nous allons rapidement faire un sondage direct avec le Mentimeter et nous vous demandons aimablement vraiment de vous connecter afin de prendre part à ce sondage. Veuillez scanner le code QR qui est à l'écran ou bien aller sur le lien mentimeter.com et entrer le code. Je vais aussi mettre dans le chat je vais mettre dans le chat le lien pour vous permettre de vous connecter.
It's maybe important to explain that we need this 10-minute break from interpretation so that Angel, our lovely interpreter, can take a short break. So we ask you to do the Mentimeter. We will give instructions in both languages now so that Angel can take a break from her interpretation.
Merci Diana. Oui, comme elle a bien dit, c'est aussi pour permettre à notre traductrice de prendre un break, de se reposer, afin que nous profitions de ce temps-là pour pouvoir faire ce sondage rapide. Un instant, je vais... Diana, can you stop sharing your screen? Then I can run Mentimeter. Thanks. Alors, pour la première question, connaissez-vous la plus grande menace qui pèse sur les dauphins à bosse de l'Atlantique? Nous avons plus de 27 participants. Nous n'avons que 15 personnes qui se sont connectées.
So if you can use the link that's in the chat to connect to the Mentimeter poll, that will be the way to give your answers so that they can be reflected in this screen. So, vous pouvez utiliser les liens dans le chat pour vous connecter sur le Mentimeter.
Je pense qu'on va passer à la question suivante. Connaissez-vous le statut sur la liste rouge de l'UICN des dauphins à bosse de l'Atlantique? Il y a 4 options. En danger critique, en danger, vulnérable, et quasi menacé. 4 réponses sur 17.
You can
On
use your
attend.
phones or your computer to connect to the Mentimeter, and you will see these questions in the Mentimeter app.
Sept réponses, 17, 8 réponses, ça monte. 9, oui. 10. Encore quelques secondes. OK, on passe à la question suivante.
Moving to the next question.
Êtes-vous au courant des prises accessoires liées aux dauphins à bord de l'Atlantique? Veuillez préciser votre pays.
So if you know that Atlantic Humpback Dolphin bycatch occurs in your country, please write the name of your country.
Congo, Cameroun, Gabon, Guinée, ça ne bouge plus.
Okay, looks like we've got all the answers from the range countries that we'll get for this question.
Yes. OK. La question suivante. Quelle solution contre les prises accessoires aimeriez-vous voir? What bycatch solution would you like to see? Please help us to know.
Il y a des autres qui ont des idées sur qu'est-ce qu'on peut faire.
Ça monte. Oui, ça vient. OK. 8 réponses sur 20. On attend encore un tout petit peu.
We'll wait just a minute. Vous pouvez donner des réponses en français aussi.
Ça monte, ça monte. Intéressant. Educational material for straw reduction, marine protected area, harness, switching gears, encadrer les habitants, moins de gilets, moins de filets. Intéressant. Alors, on va passer à la dernière question de cette session de Mentimeter.
Moving on to the last question.
Si vous trouvez ces sessions de webinaire utiles, partagez votre priorité pour les prochaines webinaires que nous pourrons organiser.
Please share your ideas for topics you would like to see us address in future CCAHD webinars.
N'hésitez pas à partager avec nous vos idées, vos propositions, afin que nous prenions tout cela en compte dans nos prochaines organisations des sessions de webinaire. Knowledge about marine policy, including communities, more on citizen size projects in range states, for example, SIREN project, areas of highest risk to species, how can marine policy support practical conservation action, educational material developed for sensitization for local communities about Atlantic Humpback Dolphin, more about marine protected areas. Les francophones qui sont dans la session, vous pouvez aussi répondre en français. Ça nous permet d'avoir la diversité des réponses. N'hésitez pas à y mettre vos réponses, vos idées pour nos prochains webinaires. Comme vous pouvez le constater, nous avons un dispositif de traduction simultanée pour permettre à chaque audience de profiter des sessions de webinaire que nous déployons. Méthodologie de collecte de données sur les dauphins à bord de l'Atlantique en mer et comment impliquer les communautés dans le suivi de ces espèces. On attend encore un peu pour les propositions d'idées pour nos prochaines webinaires.
We'll give it just one more minute for additional suggestions, and then
Yes.
we can move on to questions and answers.
Yes. Je vois qu'il y a aussi une ou deux propositions dans le chat. On va en tenir compte. Enforcement feedback. OK,
There are
nous allons mettre terme à cette session de Mentimeter. Merci à ceux qui ont pu contribuer et merci à ceux qui ont voulu y contribuer, mais la connexion n'était pas vraiment favorable pour qu'ils puissent facilement se connecter à ce sondage. Nous allons passer à la toute dernière session de notre webinaire, qui est la phase des questions-réponses. Donc, si vous avez des questions, veuillez lever la main. Nous allons vous donner la parole pour que vous puissiez poser votre question. Vous avez la possibilité de poser votre question en français ou en anglais.
Please feel free to either put up your hand using the React tab in the bottom or to just speak out. Clémence?
OK. Il y a Clémence qui a la parole. Vas-y, Clémence.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm Clémence Chamouton. I was there for the Streetwell event, and I was there for the explanation of the bycatch reduction method. And I have a question for Federico. So when I went back in Congo, I was working in Congo in Conquetiduli National Park. We met all the fishers and we talked about them about this reduction of bycatch. And so all fishers in Congo are aware of this method and all of them want to put it in place. And I still have some question because they asked me some question and I want to ask you. The first one is, do we have to change the bottles every 6 months? Because sometimes our bottles are a little bit old because they are recycled and we found them on the beach. My second question is, do we need to always have 200 milliliter bottles or maybe more, because this is sometimes difficult to find? And my last question is, for bottom in Congo, it is bottom gillnet, so it is a problem if it's not a pelagic top gillnet, because some fisher was afraid that the gillnet floats too more. So these are my 3 questions. Thank you.
OK, merci Clémence. Je propose qu'on recueille les questions et après on va passer aux réponses. Merci. Alors, le prochain sur la liste, Josias Madogocha, vous avez la parole.
Ok, merci beaucoup, Joie, et merci pour tous les présentateurs. Je suis Josias Madogocha, je suis chargé de suivi et évaluation à l'ONG Action Plus au Bénin ici. Alors, j'ai des questions concernant le premier présentateur. Je pense la présentation 1, 3 et 4. Par rapport à la première présentation, j'ai compris que l'activité qui est faite, le travail qui est fait, c'est avec les pêcheurs artisanaux. Nous savons aussi qu'il y a quand même la pêche industrielle qui contribue beaucoup aux prises accidentelles. Qu'est-ce qui est fait dans ce sens avec les pêcheurs industriels, ceux qui utilisent les chalutiers? Voilà. Donc, c'est ma première question. La deuxième question qui concerne la communication 3, c'est bien l'outil ByRA, voilà. Et je n'ai pas trop bien saisi puisque la présentatrice n'a pas abordé la communication dans son entièreté. Seulement, je voulais savoir, est-ce que cet outil pourrait être adapté pour la collecte des prises accidentelles sur d'autres espèces, telles que les tortues marines, comme nous en avons ici au Bénin? Et ma dernière question, c'est par rapport aux bouteilles qui sont utilisées pour la réduction des captures accidentelles. Je voudrais bien comprendre cette technologie parce que les bouteilles, c'est des bouteilles spécifiques ou bien c'est tout type de bouteilles qui sont utilisées. Et ma préoccupation essentielle, c'est quoi? C'est que dans le cadre des projets, nous accompagnons souvent ces pêcheurs qui forcément n'ont pas intérêt à conserver les espèces qui sont menacées. Mais lorsque le projet finit, si cette approche va entraîner je dirais va entraîner plus d'activités, que le pêcheur n'allait faire, c'est qu'il va l'abandonner. Je ne sais pas si je me fais comprendre correctement. Lui, il fait son activité de pêche. Si on va lui donner un travail supplémentaire avec l'installation de ces bouteilles-là, est-ce qu'il ne va pas abandonner l'activité? Dans ces conditions, comment pour vraiment avoir ces pêcheurs-là pour que même après les projets, l'activité puisse continuer? Merci.
Ok, merci Josias. Prochain sur la liste, Joël Wamba.
Oui, bonsoir à tous. Déjà, merci pour toutes ces belles présentations. J'aurais juste 3 questions. La première, Josias l'a déjà posée, qui était de savoir si ByRA pouvait être applicable à d'autres cibles. Pour les 2 autres questions, ça va concerner la dernière présentation. Déjà, j'aimerais savoir, est-ce que il y a une stratégie pour, en fait, comment est-ce qu'on en est arrivé à engager toutes ces communautés de pêcheurs à adhérer à cette méthodologie-là? Et la deuxième chose que je voulais savoir, c'est en termes de risque pour l'environnement, parce que là, on parle d'utilisation de bouteilles et on sait bien qu'il est possible que de temps en temps, 1 ou 2 bouteilles ne se retrouvent plus à l'endroit initial. Donc, en termes de risque pour l'environnement, est-ce que la pollution ne représenterait pas un risque à ce niveau? L'accentuation de pollution, donc ça c'est ce que j'avais à poser comme question.
Merci Joël. Et une dernière question de la part de Justina Obienu.
Hello, good day everyone. This is Justina Obrenu from Nigeria. I wanted to ask 1 or 2 questions based on the mitigation method and also to ask a question on the innovation or contribute 1 or 2 things based on the innovation on pelagic drift net cetacean exclusion device I did in 2020 and it was tested. It was tested basically in the artisanal fishing communities. And the challenge here is it has not been, it has not been promoted for them to start using, probably because there is no more support to carry out this work or test of this gear. The gear is sustainable. It excludes cetaceans and also allow the fishers to catch their target species without any impact on cetaceans. My question here, this gear, the maximum yield, when you compare it with the old gear, what the fishers are using, the fishermen are using, is not really so attractive, but it is sustainable because it can catch their target species. But my observation to encourage the fishers based on this innovation I did, the catch per unit effort based on the operational method was reduced. So they can also improve on their the catch per unit effort because the retention period for the old fishing gear, the pelagic drift gill net they use, is about 8 hours, but the new innovation is 4 hours. I only tested the 4 hours and compared with the 8 hours, but they can still improve the maximum yield. When they pull out for 8 hours, they can still return the gear. So it is not something that they will be discouraged. I would like us to look into it because it is really sustainable. It has been tested for like 8 months offshore, and it is recommendable. So we also need to look into Nigerian waters because we have a lot of issues on bycatch, which they need to really, really work on and also promote this innovation. Thank you.
Merci beaucoup, Justina, pour ce partage. Puisqu'il n'y a plus de mains levées, nous allons chronologiquement donner la parole à nos intervenants pour apporter de réponses aux différentes questions posées. Est-ce que, Cédric, tu pourrais commencer, s'il te plaît?
In French, because the question was in French. Alors, je prends la question de Josias au sujet de qu'est-ce qui est fait en ce qui concerne la pêche industrielle en matière de lutte contre les captures accidentelles sur le dauphin à bosse de l'Atlantique. Et je profite déjà de cette diapo qui est affichée où vous voyez un dauphin à bosse de l'Atlantique et vous voyez également la plage en arrière. Donc, vous pouvez estimer la distance qui sépare ce dauphin et la plage qui est en arrière. Et c'est ce type d'environnement, en fait, que le dauphin à bosse préfère, y compris les environnements même estuariens comme le delta du Saloum au Sénégal. Donc, le dauphin à bosse, dans son comportement, aime les eaux très peu profondes, généralement moins de 20 mètres, mais dans la plupart des cas, on en a rencontré dans les eaux de 4 mètres, 5 mètres. Et donc, ces zones-là sont des zones où les bateaux de pêche industrielle arrivent peu. Il y a peu de pêche industrielle dans les zones de 4 mètres, sauf si c'est déjà la pêche illégale, parce que dans les pays de l'aire de répartition du dauphin à bouche, il est déjà illégal dans la plupart des pays pour la pêche industrielle de se faire à moins de 3 nautical miles, qui revient à près de 5 km de la côte. Ce qui fait que la pêche industrielle n'est pas la principale menace sur le dauphin à bosse de l'Atlantique, bien qu'il peut avoir des cas de capture accidentelle dans la pêche industrielle, mais la pêche industrielle va beaucoup plus affecter d'autres dauphins comme le dauphin commun qui vont un peu plus loin. Ce qui ne signifie pas que c'est un risque zéro. Il y a éventuellement le risque, mais pour le cas spécifique du dauphin à bosse de l'Atlantique, c'est la pêche artisanale avec les pêcheurs qui ont peu de moyens, peu de moteurs, qui vont pêcher dans cette zone près des côtes-là, qui vont beaucoup plus impacter le dauphin à bosse de l'Atlantique. C'est pourquoi l'effort à ce niveau est beaucoup plus mis en avant sur la pêche artisanale que la pêche industrielle. Donc, au niveau de la pêche industrielle, ce qui est donc conseillé de faire, c'est de renforcer et de mettre en place les règlements qui proscrivent la pêche près des côtes. Et si cela est fait, on est sûr qu'on a gagné le combat pour ce niveau. Et puis, on revient au niveau de la pêche artisanale où le gros challenge va rester. Merci.
Merci Cédric. Sera pour répondre à certaines questions. Je sais que Hélène n'est plus là, mais elle pourra aussi, Sera ou Diana pourrait rapidement donner des réponses à ces questions-là qui ont été spécifiquement aussi adressées à Hélène qui est partie parce qu'elle avait une autre réunion. Merci.
Yeah, oh, go ahead, Sarah.
Actually, I was just going to say that I thought Federico would be better placed to answer the questions.
Just with respect to the one question about whether the bycatch risk assessment toolbox can be applied to species other than cetaceans, the answer is yes. You can use it for turtles. Ellen showed that it could also be used for sea lions. So it's a methodology that as long as you have some data about where the animals are and some data about where the fishing takes place, you can apply the toolbox to assess your risk.
If Federico.
Hello.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for all your questions. I wrote here, but if I forget something, please ask again. So Clemence, thank you so much. Happy to see you here. About change in bottles because of deterioration, I understand that this is the question. Yes, we are working to try to understand if there is any patterns of deterioration process, and we are trying to produce a guidelines, trying to show some kinds of evidence that requires the change on the bottles. But yes, it's needed, and this is one of the points that differs between our methods that we are attaching the bottles on the net. That one method provides the opportunity to see the bottles, and so you can you can monitoring the deterioration and change when it's necessary. And the other ones, we put the bottles inside a motorcycle inner tube. So we need to remove the bottles to check. So we are working on this. But yes, this is one point. And this point relates also with the question of Josias about the type of the bottles. So the idea is the air inside the bottles, so the plastic, at least in Brazil, the plastic bottles of waters are a little bit soft than the Coca-Cola for refrigerator. I don't know if this word is correct, but so we use the Coca-Cola bottles because they are a little bit more strong. And so this is the point, but the main idea is the air inside the bottles and a little bit about the flexibility of the bottle. But I think that the most important thing is to look about the availability in your region and try to use the easiest achievable bottle. No? For example, the other day, a guy asked me about bottles in Japan that perhaps are more rigid and could be easy or could not deteriorate so fast. But of course, that is hard to get these bottles here in Brazil. So this is the point that I think that's most important to understand the availability on the area. About the size of the bottle is at the same line. So the bigger the bubble, the air, you know, how much, if you have more air inside the bottles regarding the size, and the echo will be stronger. But yeah, here the problem was because bigger bottles could impact the fishing net behavior. So they could, the fishers believe that a 500 milliliters bottle would make the net be so stiffened, so would not entangle the animals. So this is the fish, you know. So this is why we start trialing the bottles with 250 milliliters. And once the result was positive, we did not have the needs to change, you know. But yeah, is the point of discussion with the fishers. And I believe that if the fishers are happy to use bigger bottles, it's better. And about the surface gill nets, I think that this is a challenge that it's really important to work with the fishers to think on a way to not impact the fishing activity. So of course, that even with the bottom set gill nets, if you put the bottles at the middle of the net, I believe that the effectiveness would be, I don't know if it's bigger, but could be more effective. But of course, that put net bottles on the middle of the net is a challenge. So I think that there is a possibility that this method is applicable to surface gill nets, but yeah, I think that is needed to work with the fishers to understand how at least put the bottles on the bottom line and not at the surface line, because at the surface, the probability that the collocation be reflected reduce, at least theoretically, you know, just thinking now, I am not working with this kind of gill nets, but yeah. About the question of Josias about increasing time, with the method that put the bottles that are attached with the motorcycle inner tube, there's no increase in time because the bottles are attached, so there's no needs to put and put out. And the other method that we need to attach and detach the bottles to the net, there's this increase, but it's minimal. After the fishers learn how to attach and detach the bottles, it's easy. We estimated an increase of an average increase of 5 minutes on the all time. So it's really, at least here, the fishers never asked us to or told us about any problems related to this this work, extra work. No. About the pollution by plastic, this is a very important point. So we have a lot of cautions about how to attach. So this is why we are not working with many ways to attach. We try to find a way that was proposed by the fishers and monitor this method to understand if we are losing bottles or not. And using this kind of knots, we are not losing bottles. And I think that this is one of the key points when we think on the widespread use. So be sure that the fishers are attaching the bottles in a right way, and we are not losing bottles during the fishing activity and increasing plastic pollution, as Wamba said. Engagement with this methodology, I think this is why I put on my presentation the opportunity that we have to go to Cameroon in Kribi and share our experience there. And I believe that when we put fishers to talk with each other, it's improve our probability to collaborate, because it's of course that we science, we can talk and we can understand the fishing activities, but there's no better people that the on fishers to talk about. And we promote this engagement, I believe that is more strong, because the fishers are talking between each other and are promoting the use, and also are clarifying some aspects that for us are not important, but for the fishers are. So I think that promoting this kind of exchange is very important to promote the engagement of distinct communities with the distinct bycatch mitigation methods. I think that is all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Merci Federico, et je pense d'ailleurs que toutes les questions ont été épuisées. Josias a encore la main levée, je ne sais pas si c'est une ancienne main ou bien c'est toujours une question qu'il veut poser.
Non, non, c'est bon, c'est une ancienne main.
Ok, merci Josias. Nous arrivons à thème de notre webinaire. Avant de clôturer, je voudrais vous demander, Diana, de bien vouloir allumer vos caméras, s'il vous plaît. Diana, please, can you stop sharing? Then we can... Yes. Nous voudrions bien vous demander d'allumer vos caméras pour que nous puissions prendre une photo de groupe. OK. Alors, c'est fait. Mesdames et messieurs, merci. Nous arrivons à la fin de ce webinaire passionnant et, je l'espère, enrichissant pour chacun d'entre vous. Nous avons aujourd'hui exploré la menace que représentent les captures accidentelles pour les dauphins à bord de l'Atlantique. Une problématique urgente, complexe, mais aussi porteuse de solutions concrètes. Et vraiment, grâce à nos intervenants, nous avons compris beaucoup de choses. Pourquoi le bycatch est la principale menace connue sur l'ensemble des aires de répartition de cette espèce-là, et comment est-ce que le consortium, le CCAHD et ses initiatives, comme le Bycatch Mitigation Initiative, avec la Commission baleinière internationale, s'organisent pour vraiment y faire face. En quoi vraiment l'outil développé par Dr. Hélène, Inès et ses collaborateurs aide vraiment à évaluer ces risques, et surtout comment est-ce que certaines stratégies d'atténuation sont déjà testées sur le terrain avec les premiers retours encourageants que Federico a partagé avec nous dans ce webinaire. Un immense merci à nos 4 panélistes. Je veux dire Federico, Cedrick, Dr. Sarah, Hélène qui est partie un peu tôt pour leur intervention. Et merci également à vous, vous participants qui avez pris votre temps pour participer et poser des questions et merci pour votre engagement. Merci d'avoir pris part à notre sondage Mentimeter. C'est très enrichissant. Nous allons vraiment nous baser sur vos retours pour pouvoir mieux organiser les prochains webinaires en priorisant les thématiques que vous avez évoquées. Et pour finir, n'oubliez pas que nous allons vous partager l'enregistrement. Ce webinaire a été enregistré. Nous allons vous partager l'enregistrement avec toutes les ressources disponibles. Et n'hésitez pas à vous abonner aussi, à nous suivre sur les comptes sociaux du CCAHD. Et partagez les ressources avec vos proches sur les réseaux. Et bien sûr, restez connectés aux prochaines activités du CCAHD. Nous vous remercions. Bye.
Merci tout le monde.
Bye, merci.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you.
Good weekend. Thank you, Angel. Merci, merci.
Thank you, Edem.